What do you do when something in your life just isn't working? Let's say it's a relationship with your boss, or you have money issues, or you have career issues, you have problems with your kids, or with your spouse, or with your body. What do you do when something like that isn't working? Now, of course, there are lots of solutions you'll find out there in the outside world around, like, find a different job, or eat better, or exercise more, or have conversations with your kids. There are lots of things to do. This video, this content is not going to be about that. It's a secret around how you can change any aspect of your external life by looking at one part of your life. Now, essentially in life, there are two dimensions, and only two. There's the inner life, there's the inner experience, and there's the outer experience. Now, ultimately, there's actually only one, which is the inner experience, because the inner experience, or the inner state, we could say, is always expressed and reflected in the outside world. But when something isn't working, we often go to have solutions in the outside world to solve something from the outside world. What's interesting is that even when someone shifts the external world to get what they want, let's in this case say they exercise or eat better or create better habits to have the body that they want or lose fat or whatever it is, if they don't have an internal shift, then they'll go back to the body will go back to the way that it was. Why? Because there wasn't an internal shift. So here's what you can do if there's an aspect of your life that just isn't working, or you feel stuck, or there's something out there that is really frustrating or hard or difficult, something you just don't want to have anymore. Look at what aspect of yourself might be getting expressed out there in the outside world. So let's say you have a person at work who's just a dick, right? So, well, maybe you might look at how can you be a dick in your own way, right? To yourself even, right? Because listen, in my life, I always use my life as kind of a template or an experiment to see if this stuff actually works. And there are people in my lives that show up as angry or frustrating or unpleasant. And what's fascinating is that when I'm bothered by that, and for long periods of time, let's say, and this happens like people that I work with or something, or people that I interact with, if I get frustrated or angry about that over longer periods of time, then I know that that person or that thing is an expression of something I haven't navigated yet. And what's also really fascinating is that someone is angry or frustrated or kind of being a jerk or whatever, and it doesn't really bother me, then it means that that's something that, okay, probably exists inside of me, but it's cool. Like and I know it's not gonna stick around. It's not gonna be pervasive, because at that time in my life, and this is true for right now, I'm navigating that pretty successfully. Right? If I have moments of frustration or anger or irritation, I navigate that pretty well. And I've practiced a lot in meditation and spiritual work and workshops and leading and all the things and psychology and all of that. So I've got a good sense of when I'm having that. So for you, become aware if there's some aspect of yourself that is getting expressed in the outside world. Let's take another example. You say you don't have enough money. Or there's not enough, you're not earning enough money, you don't have enough money, you're spending too much money, whatever it is. Look at your relationship to scarcity. That's one place to look. How do you feel about scarcity? Do you feel like there's never enough of things in the world or things in your life? There's never enough people. There's never enough love. Look at your relationship to scarcity and really explore what your relationship to scarcity is. And secondly, you might look at what the beliefs that you have about having things, having abundance, your relationship to abundance. Again, in all aspects of your life, just because it's showing up in finances doesn't mean that the issues, or let's call it the limiting beliefs about abundance, doesn't mean that they're just there in money. How we do one thing is how we can do everything. So there's probably, if we are experiencing scarcity and a lack of abundance in money, then there's probably a lack of scarcity in other areas of our life. Maybe there's like we don't feel like we have enough time, or we don't feel like we have enough love in relationships. Look at your relationship to scarcity and the beliefs that you have about abundance. let's say relationships aren't fulfilling, then how fulfilled are you with your life, with yourself, regardless of relationships? Because that lack of fulfillment is getting expressed out from the inside to the outside. It's a reflection and an expression of our internal state. So take a look at this. Take a look at yourself. Explore. There's a million ways to do that. But if you just get this principle about how the inner state is always being reflected by the external state and expressed out into the external state, you will unlock a key to creating the life exactly as you want.